From Delhi tonight, we're joined by Swapan Das-Gupta, senior journalist, Maruf Raza, Times Now strategic affairs expert and senior journalist, and Arshad Sharif of Dawn is joining us from Islamabad. This is extreme reactions. I mean, all the things are actually being said with a straight face in Pakistan that, you know, India did this and that this was a 9/11, that was India created this, Indian intelligence agencies actually carried this entire operation out. Swapan, your reaction at what you're seeing here. Swapan, your reaction.
No, I didn't quite see your footage of the documentary you showed before that. But what I can say is that, you know, it's not very unusual for conspiracy theories to emerge after every crisis. After 9/11, you had fantastic stories about Jews being evacuated, about that being an internal job. It's ironic because the Indian intelligence agencies in India are being accused of sheer ineptitude. I can also appreciate that in Pakistan it's wounded their pride that they're being accused by India, and they've been sort of forces which we'd always suspected were hand in glove with the terror mechanism in Pakistan have now been found out to a very large extent, and there's greater international scrutiny of it.
What the Pakistan, I don't think they'll take my suggestion seriously, but I think what the Pakistan media should have done, as the gentleman in Pakistan is explaining to some extent, that what they should have done, that they should have dissociated the moderate elements in Pakistan from the hardliners. Pakistan is itself now facing the consequences of having built this Frankenstein monster. But not everybody in Pakistan is a bad guy. You see, the hardliners would continue to perpetuate this kind of nonsense in India, because we have weak governments after weak governments after weak governments. But the other reason why they continue to do that is because they'll run out of business if they stop sponsoring terror. Now, the moderates in Pakistan should de-link themselves, but what I'm seeing in that report of yours is that a lot of the media has become victims of their own delusion. It is Pakistan's delusion that the Indian Federation would fall apart. That is their big dream. And to see it happening, and also to argue that, you know, the people who were investigating the Samjhauta Express bombings or the ATS chief and others have been eliminated, and with them go all the evidence, is, you know, I can't find more examples of bizarre assumptions and analysis than what is coming out of that report. Even if these guys have gone away in the line of duty, there are reports and evidences which are recorded. In fact, I want to make a bigger point. And the bigger point I want to make, that our assumptions are based on the evidence that Pakistani hardline sponsors of terrorism are behind this. And the one terrorist who's alive, instead of the intelligence agencies continuing to drive him round the bend, asking him question after question, put him on a TV channel or put him in front of the world press and let him sing. Let him tell the world what he has been put through, and no better evidence is required of those elements in Pakistan who sponsor this kind of activity. I think we are again carrying intelligence and secrecy to such absurd limits that tomorrow, if this chap gets exhausted or dies, your only clue is lost, and you are back to square one once again, making one set of assertions vis-a-vis the other set of assertions. But the final point is, Pakistan's turned a corner. Pakistan must see the light at the end of the tunnel. Pakistan must come clean. And it will only come clean if there is a diplomatic dragnet placed around its neck. The world must isolate a country which is the epicenter of global terrorism today. But if the world doesn't, and if Obama's regime doesn't, Obama's government doesn't, if the United States doesn't, then I think all this talk about Indo-US deal is a waste of time.
Okay. In this, I also want to make one point here. The Ram Jethmalani was quoted as by one TV channel as giving Pakistan a clean sheet. We spoke to Mr. Jethmalani. He said, I said nothing of the kind. So obviously, Mr. Jethmalani's comments were also chopped and edited in such a way that it suited a particular sensibility. And that's extremely, extremely worrying. Extremely worrying indeed.
Right. Mr. Swapan Das-Gupta, coming to you. Would you agree with what Maruf Raza is saying? Is the Pakistani media delusional? Are they representing what the government wants them to say? Are they representing the Pakistani sentiment?
No, I don't think, I think it would be unfair to tar the Pakistani media in its entirety with the same brush. But I think one interesting point which Maruf made, which I concur with entirely, is that I don't think in India we should be treating Pakistan as a monolith. I think we should be taking a far more nuanced view of Pakistan. Obviously, there are people in Pakistan who have a visceral hatred of India, who are basically these sort of ideological props of groups like the LET. And the real target, the pointing of fingers, should be directed at those elements which are not merely a threat to India, they're a threat to world peace as a whole. And I think it's important to distinguish between that and those elements in Pakistan who have actually suffered the same amount of terror. And I think it would be also instructive on our part to actually strike out, reach out to those and have a common front in civil society whereby more meaningful exchanges are possible about the common enemy we both face.
Before I go
and of course the diplomatic powwows will go on, and I think to some extent it's only to be expected. But I think as the media, we need to differentiate ourselves from what happens at a state-to-state level dialogue.